I think I knew something was wrong the moment I felt relieved instead of hurt. That's not how you're supposed to feel when your family takes something from you. But standing in that hallway, listening to them plan my future like I wasn't even in the building, all I felt was clarity, cold, sharp clarity, and maybe that should have scared me more than it did. My name is Claire, I'm 31, and this is about the night I learned that being dependable can become indistinguishable from being available. I used to drive to my parents' place in Marietta every Sunday, not because anyone asked, because it was understood. I'd bring groceries, stay for dinner, fix whatever wasn't working, the router, the gutter, the tense silence when money came up. I worked in finance, not the glamorous kind. I reconciled budgets for a medical supply distributor and did freelance bookkeeping on weekends. I was good with numbers, better with other people's than my own, probably. My dad had been out of work for 2 years after the plant downsized. My mom cleaned houses but her hip was getting worse. They didn't ask me for help directly, they just let things pile up until I noticed. And I always noticed. My younger sister, Nicole, was different. She had 2 kids, a husband who cycled through jobs, and a kind of tiredness that made everyone soften around her. When she needed something, it felt urgent. When I needed something, I usually just handled it myself. That was the difference. It started the week before Thanksgiving. Nicole called me while I was updating a client spreadsheet. She didn't say hello. She said, "Danny got let go again." Danny was her husband, contractor work. It came and went. "I'm sorry," I said, and I meant it. "We're gonna lose the apartment, Claire." I minimized my screen. "How far behind are you?" 3 months. Her voice cracked. "The kids don't know yet. I don't want them scared." There was a pause where I was supposed to offer. I knew the rhythm by now. "How much do you need?" I asked. She exhaled. "I don't know, maybe just, could you talk to mom and dad? See if they can help?" I almost laughed. Our parents were 2 missed payments from trouble themselves, but I didn't say that. "I'll figure something out," I said. "You're the best." She hung up before I could clarify what figure something out actually meant. I wired her $2,000 the next day, rent and a buffer. I didn't tell anyone. It didn't feel like generosity, it felt like triage. Thanksgiving was loud and warm, 18 people in a house meant for 10. I brought rolls and a check for the heating bill I'd seen sitting on the counter, still unopened. Nicole's kids ran circles around the adults. My dad told the same story about the plant he told every year. My mom asked if I was seeing anyone, and when I said no, she touched my hand like she was sorry for me. I wasn't lonely. I had my apartment, my work, my routines, but somewhere along the way, my life had started to look like a placeholder, like I was waiting for the real thing to start. I didn't realize anyone else saw it that way too. The first strange thing happened the day after Thanksgiving. I stopped by to drop off leftovers and found my dad in the garage with a tape measure. "Whatcha measuring?" I asked. He startled. "Oh, just looking at some dimensions." "For what?" "Might build some shelves." It was a nothing answer, but he wouldn't look at me. I let it go. The second strange thing was the weekend Nicole asked if I ever thought about renting out my place. We were folding laundry at her apartment. The kids were watching cartoons. "Why would I do that?" I asked. She shrugged. "I don't know, just seems like a lot of space for one person." It was a 1-bedroom, barely 700 square feet. "I like where I live," I said. "Yeah, no, totally, I just meant, you're never really there anyway, right? You're always helping out." I looked at her. She was folding a tiny shirt with care, not meeting my eyes. "Nicole, what's going on?" "Nothing, forget it." But I didn't forget it. The third thing, the thing that changed everything, happened 3 weeks later. I let myself into my parents' house to fix their internet. I had a key, I'd had one since high school. I heard voices in the kitchen, my mom and Nicole. I was about to call out when I heard my name. "Claire wouldn't mind," my mom was saying, "she's not using it." "But shouldn't we ask her first?" Nicole's voice, uncertain. "We will, of course we will, I'm just saying, it makes sense, she's there alone, you've got 2 growing kids, it's just logical." I stood very still in the hallway. "What if she says no?" Nicole asked. "She won't." My mom's voice was warm, confident. "Claire always helps, that's who she is." There was a long pause. "When should we tell her?" Nicole asked. "Let your father handle it, he'll make it sound official, you know how he is." They laughed, soft and familial. I set the router down silently and left the house the same way I came in. I didn't sleep that night. I kept playing it back, the casual certainty in my mother's voice. "Claire always helps, that's who she is." Like I was a feature of the landscape, reliable as weather. I pulled up my lease, my name, sole tenant, renewed every year without fail. I tried to imagine saying no when my father officially asked. Imagine Nicole's face, the kids confused and disappointed. My mother's gentle insistence that it's just temporary. How temporary? 6 months? A year? What happened to my life during temporary? I sat on my couch in the dark and felt something I hadn't let myself feel in years. Anger. Not the hot kind, the slow kind, the kind that builds when you realize you've been giving pieces of yourself away and calling it love. I didn't confront them. I did something worse. I started looking at my options. There was a recruiter I'd been ignoring for months. She worked for a firm in Minneapolis, bigger role, better pay, colder winters. I'd said no before because it felt too far. From what? I wasn't sure anymore. I called her back. Is the position still open? I asked. It is, she sounded surprised. You interested? Maybe, can I think about it? Take your time, but not too much time. Sunday came. I went to my parents' house like always. Dinner was pot roast. My dad was in a good mood. He kept looking at my mom like they shared a secret. Halfway through the meal, he cleared his throat. Claire, honey, your mother and I have been talking. Here it was. I set down my fork. We know you've been working hard, he continued, and we're real proud of you, but we've been thinking about family, about how we all help each other. Nicole wasn't there. Convenient. Okay, I said. Nicole and Danny are in a tough spot, and you've got that nice apartment, and, well, it occurred to us that maybe it'd make sense for them to stay with you for a while, just until they get back on their feet. My mother nodded. You're barely there anyway, sweetheart, and the kids need stability. I looked at both of them. My father's face was set in that expression he wore when he thought he was being reasonable. My mother's eyes were hopeful. Neither of them looked uncertain. How long is a while? I asked. Oh, we'd figure that out as we go, my mom said. And you've already talked to Nicole about this? Well, yes, she's excited, the kids are excited. But you didn't talk to me first. My dad frowned. We're talking to you now. You're telling me now. The table went quiet. Claire, my mother's voice softened. This isn't like you. What's not like me? Being difficult. The word landed like a stone. Difficult. I stood up. I need to think about it, I said. What's there to think about? My dad asked. It's family. I picked up my keys. I'll let you know, I said. I left before they could say anything else. I called the recruiter the next morning. I'm in, I said. Fantastic. When can you start? How soon do you need me? January? Done. I didn't tell my family about Minneapolis. I told them I needed my apartment for myself, that I wasn't comfortable with the arrangement. My father didn't yell, he just looked disappointed. My mother said she understood, but her voice had a coolness I wasn't used to. Nicole cried on the phone, said she didn't know I could be so selfish. I stopped answering for a few days. When I finally did, I told them I'd taken a job out of state. The silence was loud. When? My dad asked. I leave in 3 weeks. You didn't think to discuss this with us? I almost laughed. Like you discussed my apartment with me? That's different. How? He didn't have an answer. I spent Christmas alone that year. It wasn't sad, it was quiet. I packed my apartment in boxes labeled with cities I'd never seen. On New Year's Eve, my mom called. I just don't understand, she said. We've always been close. We have, I agreed. Then why does it feel like you're running away? I sat with that. I'm not running away, I said finally, I'm just stopping. Stopping what? Stopping being the person everyone else gets to decide things for. She was quiet for a long time. I never meant to make you feel that way, she said, and I believed her. I know, I said, but it still happened. I moved to Minneapolis in January. The apartment was smaller, the winters were brutal. But it was mine, fully, completely mine. Nicole and I talk now, sometimes. It took a year, but we got there. My parents still don't really understand, maybe they never will. But I'm not waiting for them to anymore. Here's what I learned. People will take as much as you're willing to give, not because they're cruel, because you've taught them that's what you do. And when you stop, they won't thank you for all the years you said yes. They'll resent you for the one time you said no. That's not your fault. It's just the cost of becoming someone who belongs to themselves. If you've ever been the one everyone counts on but nobody checks on, I hope you hear this. Your life is not a resource. It's yours. And you're allowed to keep it.